Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Kpop Convenience Store. I'm so excited that I can finally say that. This has kind of been in the making for almost a year now. I got one time, I got a comment on a post that I made about K-pop, and that comment said, "Wow, you should really make a podcast because I would listen to it." And ever since then, my ego has been boosted so much that I've wanted to make a podcast. This is going to be a podcast about K-pop, if you haven't already inferred that from the name. It's just going to be a place where we can talk about different topics, different groups, fandoms, things like that. Basically, everything that you need to know about K-pop, we're going to talk about it here on this podcast. Since this is episode 1, I thought this could just be a welcome episode. Let me just introduce myself so that you can kind of understand what point of view I'm coming at with anything that I talk about in the future and just my experience as a K-pop fan so far. I'm also very much like a fan of campy things, so I'm going to implement some segments here just so that we can have something to look forward to every single week, and something to really just get the conversation started. For the first segment that I hope we continue to do every single episode, I want to introduce K-pop opinions of the week. For this segment, I'm going to basically just give a K-pop opinion. I'm going to try to keep them positive and silly just so that nobody's feelings get hurt. And so that we can kind of start every episode off on a light note. So this episode's K-pop opinion of the week will be BTS should have an Eras tour. You're going to hear me talk about BTS maybe every single episode. They are the first group that ever got me into K-pop, and I will go into how much I love them a little bit later on in this episode. But I mean, Taylor Swift did an Eras tour, and I believe that we are owed like all of the ciphers back to back. I want to see some Butterfly. I want to see My City, Silver Spoons, Converse High, Moving On, Hold Me Tight. I need to see those things live. Like tomorrow, could you imagine tomorrow, just one day? Like, I just want to go back to some of the roots. To get things started, I have a series of questions here that are just going to guide me in being able to tell you guys basically a quick summary about who I am, why I love K-pop, the things that I love about K-pop, etc., etc. We're going to start off with how did I get into K-pop? What was my first K-pop songs, my groups, all that good stuff. So I first got into K-pop in 2015 when I was 15 years old in high school. There was a friend that I was getting to know who had a lot of the same interests as I did, and she had asked me if I listened to K-pop. I had no idea what she was talking about, but she was like, yeah, you know, like Psy, Gangnam Style? I was like, yeah, I was obsessed with that song. She's like, yeah, it's kind of like that, but just like also just different variation, just pop music in Korean. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And she was like, I really love this group called BTS. They have a song called Dope. You should really listen to it. So I go home, I listen to it, I watch Dope, I immediately fall in love. And this is also the time where I was like coming out of my emo phase. So obviously I was going to bias Jimin right off the bat with his red hair and like black eyeliner. It was just speaking to my soul. And then from there, I obviously just wanted to know everything about BTS, got to know the members, and also anybody that was affiliated with them. And very closely at the time, they were actively and publicly friends with GOT7. I'm pretty sure they're still friends to this day. So I got into GOT7. That's where I kind of got introduced to JYP groups. And at the time that I was getting into BTS, they would find any opportunity to talk about Big Bang. So I had to obviously check them out. Became a fan of Big Bang, became a fan of 21, EXO. It just snowballed. BTS connected me to a whole world of music, and I became a fan from there. to this day, I still love all of those groups. The third gen really holds a special place in my heart because that's where I became a K-pop fan. But I also love the fourth and fifth gen and the second gen and first gen. It just like anybody that makes good music, I'm gonna be a fan of. But today, as 24-year-old Janice, I have four favorite K-pop groups, and that is BTS, 17, TXT, and Stray Kids. Those four are my alt groups. They're the ones that I keep up with the most. They are the ones that I actively participate in the fandom for. And I give anything and everything to be involved in those four. Yeah, those are my four favorite groups. And my biases in those groups are BTS, Jimin, as stated before. He had an emo look. I loved it. I became a fan. I loved his singing voice. I loved his dancing abilities. He was such a captivating performer that I immediately gravitated towards him. And then the next group that I really loved to the point that it was as passionate as BTS was 17. And my bias in that group is Wonwoo. It took me 2 years to actually choose my bias. I kind of flip flopped between everybody, but I landed on Wonwoo 2 years into liking 17. And I became a 17 fan in 2016. Then we have TXT. When they were releasing their member trailers, I was really captivated and interested in Hyunin Kai. So to this day, Hyunin Kai is my bias. I love him a lot. And then Stray Kids, I became a fan of at the end of 2019. And I fell in love with Hyunjin almost off the bat. It was really between Hyunjin and Han who was going to be my bias, but in the end, Hyunjin won. After maybe like a month of liking Stray Kids, I might as well tell you my bias records as well. In BTS, my bias record is Yoongi. This is all to say I love every single member like with all of my heart. These members I just love like 1% more than everybody else. Not even that, like 0.5% more than everybody else. Yoongi is my bias record in BTS. He is just such an amazing, talented rapper. I love him a lot. In 17, my bias record is Seungmin. He is an amazing vocal. His like comedic timing is crazy good, and he's just such a fun and beautiful soul to kind of interact with. I love watching anything that Seungmin does. In TXT, my bias record is Beomgyu, and he's just like so chaotic, lovable, and such a talented singer. I love watching Beomgyu do his thing. He's great and amazing. And then in Stray Kids, I have like three. I have like three, and they all serve different purposes. Like Han, like I said, he was kind of in the running to be my bias. I ended up choosing Hyunjin, but Han is the bias record that I collect the most PCs for. So I always try to buy Hyunjin and Han in pairs so that I can have an equal amount of both of them. And then I love Seungmin. Seungmin is such an amazing, beautiful person. Like, he has such a loving and giving soul, and he's just beautiful. Like, I love that man to death. He is an amazing, talented rapper, and even more amazing composer, lyricist, and I admire him a lot. And then there's Seungmin, who is actual chaotic evil. I call him my baseball husband, unironically. Like, that is my baseball husband, guys. He's so amazing and funny and also talented. And like I said, I love every single member of all of these groups. But these people just, consistently are in my head, living rent free. Outside of those four groups, I listen to basically anyone who makes K-pop music, but just to like highlight some, I love Le Seraphim, New Jeans, ATEEZ, NCT, and Hypen, IVE, ILLIT, TWS, Twice, many more. Basically, if you like any group, I could probably have a conversation about any group with you. I'll know something. I don't have a preference between boy groups and girl groups. When I first got into K-pop, I did. Probably for the first year or two of liking K-pop, I was very strictly a boy group girl. And I only listened to boy groups until I found 21. They really opened up my mind to girl groups, and it's just been equal since then. Probably even more the girl groups because they end up on my Spotify Wrapped way more than the boy groups do. But yeah, I love both of them equally, and there's things that I love about each of them that are different from each other. But I love a boy group, I love a girl group. Moving on to like music and concepts that I like and enjoy. There's a lot. Some of my favorite K-pop songs like of all time, just to name a few, because I if we talked about every single song that has altered my brain chemistry in K-pop, we'd be here for 5 hours. But to name a few off the top of my head, there's Save Me by BTS. It's my favorite BTS song. Neurotic by TVXQ. An amazing song. Cosmic by Red Velvet. Oh my god. Like, that song never stopped playing when it came out. Nobody by the Wonder Girls. G by Girls' Generation. I Love You by 2NE1. It's just like there's too many amazing songs that I can tell you right now. Those songs are like constantly in my rotation, plus many more. I'm sure I'll be able to shout out more as we go in every single episode. But yeah, those are just to name a few of the songs that I love. Piggybacking off of that, the K-pop album that I think is flawless from start to finish is Young Forever by BTS. Why? Simply because it is a compilation of the hits off of The Most Beautiful Moment in Life albums. Those songs are just so, I think, important to teenage me that they hold so much memories, and they are just, I think, some of the best music that BTS has ever come out with. It's such a beautiful example of BTS's musicianship, and oh my gosh, I could go on and on about how amazing Young Forever is, but I love that album so much. It was my first K-pop album that I ever owned, and I have both versions. It's just, I love that album with all my heart, and if I had to give up every single piece of K-pop music, I would hold tight onto that one. Now let me give you a little bit of an idea of how crazy of a K-pop fan I am. Let's talk a little bit of how active I am in my K-pop fandoms. So like I said, BTS, TXT, Stray Kids, and 17, I am the most active in those. I think the group that I took the most serious was TXT. I think it has to do with the fact that I was there since their debut. So I loved them so much that I really just wanted to see them grow and succeed. So I learned how to like sign up for Korean voting apps just so that they could win on music shows. I participated in so many streaming parties. I participated in fan voting. Like, I was there for their music show wins every single week trying to support them. At some point, I even was trying to get a Korean phone number so that I could just be able to text in the votes. It got so much. But yeah, I've never gone as hard as I have for TXT, but I'm just the type of fan that if I can provide any ounce of support to my groups, I will. I love them so much for the amazing music that they give me, so I try to give back in any way that I can. Obviously, it's gotten harder as I've gotten older because, priorities and things like that. You kind of have to pay bills. But back when I was a teenager and was jobless and only went to school, like, this was my life. This was my hobby and everything that I was pouring my energy into. Yeah, I love my groups a lot. And one of my favorite things to do is to go to concerts to see other fans of my groups, as well as just go and see the amazing talent that they have live. So for BTS, I've gone to their concert 4 times, to their Speak Yourself tour, their Love Yourself tour, their Permission to Dance tour in LA. I was in the YouTube theater. That's a conversation for another day, but I was in the YouTube theater for their Permission to Dance LA, and I also got the chance to go to Permission to Dance in Las Vegas, the only K-pop group that I've ever gone outside of California to go see. For TXT, I've been to their concert twice because, oh my gosh, Hybe, Why would you put them for their first tour in theaters? Like, I'm still not over it, if you can't tell. Yeah, I tried to get tickets for their first tour, sold out immediately, was not able to do it, but I was able to go to their second world tour and their third. That just happened. Every single time that I go see TXT, I think about how I could have seen Blue Orange Aid live and I was robbed of that. Anyway, for 17, I have gone to see them 4 times, 3 times on their own tour and 1 time at LA3C. It has been amazing every single time that I have gone and seen them. I have been very fortunate to see Stray Kids 4 times, 2 times on the Maniac tour and 2 times on the Core Maniac tour. And I have tickets to go see them at SoFi. Only one day, but keep updated because I do have freebies. I always bring freebies to all of these shows. And then twice I've been to them twice, both times that they've toured here. And then I've also gone and seen IVE. So yeah, I think this is about what, 8, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's no way that I've been to 20 shows. 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 17. Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay. I've been to 17 K-pop concerts. That is amazing. And I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artists. And I continue and want to see more. Concerts are like truly my happiness, and I take every single opportunity to be able to go to one. On top of K-pop, what else in Korean media do I like? Do I watch K-dramas? Do I watch variety shows? Yes, I do. Some K-dramas that I love and would be willing to watch again because they're so good. There's Strong Woman, there's Weightlifting Fairy, Crash Course in Romance. In terms of variety shows, I love Return of Superman, Knowing Bros, and if you consider this variety shows, Going 17, To Do, Skiz Code, Run BTS, and Run Jin. I love all of those things. And because my love and interest in K-pop goes beyond the music, I also follow closely when K-pop idols are involved in fashion and makeup trends. So I am a fashion girly. I am a fan of Versace, Fendi, Bottega Veneta, Chanel, Dior, Louis Vuitton, everything like that. I am a fan, and I love to see what these fashion houses come out with and how they shape the fashion world. It is an added bonus that sometimes my favorite K-pop artists are invited to or ambassadors of these fashion houses. It's so incredible to see, and I love the expression of creativity that is K-pop fashion and K-pop idol fashion. And then just like some fashion icons to throw out there in their casual normal clothes, J-Hope from BTS, amazing dresser. Ian from Stray Kids, amazing dresser. Yeonjun from TXT, love his style. Soyogi from Red Velvet, always trying to see what she's wearing so that I can steal the look. And just anybody who is really truly in love with fashion, I look to those K-pop idols for some inspiration on my own fashion. But yeah, that's a little bit of kind of who I am as a K-pop fan and the things that I like. It obviously extends way more than that, but I think those are the key elements that you need to know just so that we can start getting to know each other. I think this is where I'll end episode 1, and also the time where I'm going to introduce segment number 2, which is going to happen after every single episode is over. And this is 3 songs that I think you should listen to this week because they're amazing. My 3 song recommendations for you this week is Python by GOT7. Obviously, we love a third gen group coming back. This comeback is amazing, and I still have to listen to the whole album, but if it's anything like Python, I have high hopes. GOT7 is such an amazing group. If you did not get into them when they were active in third gen, get into them now because they're coming back bigger and better than ever. Second song recommendation for this week is Humph. Yes, that is spelled HYMPH exclamation point by WJSN's subunit Chokum. If you're a fan of people like Orange Caramel, you're going to love this. If you're a fan of Busoksoon, you're going to love this song. WJSN is not as active. They haven't broken up, but basically they're broken up. They're not as active, but they're a group under Starship, and they're one of my favorite groups. So definitely check out Humph if you want something fun to listen to. And then last but not least, our third recommendation of this week is Whiplash by NCT 127. Um, I forgot that this song existed, and when it came up on my playlist this week, I immediately knew I had to recommend it. It is such a good song, and like I said, I love me an NCT 127 song. It is amazing. With that, I will say goodbye. I hope you have a good rest of your day and that you join me again for more episodes to come. Promise you that they'll get a lot more interesting than talking about me. We're going to be diving into all things K-pop. And if you ever have anything that you want to suggest for this podcast, or if you just want to chit chat about K-pop, you can find me on all social media platforms at Janice Bananas. Like I said, any social media platform, I'm on there with that username. Thank you so much, and bye, guys.